today, guys, giving away a Switch for October and November as well. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell on the channel and leave a comment. Leaving a comment is what gets you the entry, so it can be anything. Today, I'd like to know how your day was. Are you just waking up? Are you just going to bed? Where are you watching this video? Just tell me about your day. That would be really nice. And if you want a PS4, Claytano giving away a PS4 on his channel. Although I cut him off. You just go to Claytano's channel. He's giving away a PS4, guys. It's pretty lit. This is the hunter composition that I ran. It was Warlocks, Marine, 3 hunters with a warrior frontline. Really strong. You might have seen me run this kind of composition before. I called it like my level 10 unbeatable build, but I kind of edited it for this game. Now, the reason I'm not showing you positioning is because hunters in general are very fluid in positioning. So when you play hunters, what you'll find is that in the late game, they are very kind of like adaptable in the way that you can make them work. So I would always recommend that you don't have like a set position with hunters. You should always be thinking about ways to play hunters that can sort of counter your opponents via positioning, because I think hunters are the most flexible composition in the game for positioning, but we'll talk about that when we get to the late game. As per usual, we're going to run through this game at 2x speed. I'm going to talk about my early game decisions. So pretty obvious here. I don't really think I need to spell it out for you. I'm just picking up pairs. Now, I'm picking up pairs of warriors, and especially the Cave Clan bonus, because Cave Clan is very strong early, but more specifically, Swordman is very strong early. Now, he's incredibly strong level 2. That's why I've got a pair, and that's why I'll be looking to make him a level 2 as soon as I physically can. I've also got a pair of Red Axes and a pair of God of Wars. And this is a lot of pairs. Not enough pairs for me to want to roll on a round for, but you can also see that I'm actually also picking up things like the werewolf. So actually I've been able to spend every round for things that are moderately useful for me. Now, in most scenarios, you'd probably see this composition and say, this is what quite obviously a Beast Warrior composition, but like, this guy is 100% going to go Beast Warrior, you know, because he's got all of the good core units for it early on. He's got Werewolf, he's actually picked up some Warriors, and although Red Axe and Swordman don't always feature in Beast Warrior, they're actually very adaptable and can be slotted in quite easily. You would be right for the most part, but I actually have those Agursis Rangers, those cheeky Agursis Rangers on the sideline there, and they will actually be able to come into a hunter composition if I find the core hunter units. Also, the best tank for hunters, hands down, is God of War 3. God of War 3 will be, and always will be, the best tank for hunters because he just tanks so much damage. And then you can combine him with Doom and Pirate Captain, or Werewolf and Pirate Captain, whatever you want to do, to give yourself a good, solid warrior frontline. So you can see I did find my Agursis Ranger 2. I don't know whether this was a mistake or not, putting Agursis Ranger 2 on over another Swordman. I think maybe Swordman was probably better, and I think on reflection, if I was to make this decision again, a single Swordsman was probably better here. Now, you may have noticed that my game froze, so instead of waiting the minute that it took me to get back into this game, I think it was longer, because this is in 2 times, it was just a minute on the actual video. We'll load back in and skip the whole loading process, but unfortunately, I lost. I did generate a lot of gold, but I did unfortunately lose a couple of rounds here, which A, probably tells you that my decision to put in the Agursis Ranger was wrong, and B, is a bit annoying because I might have been able to remedy that by finding something across the, I think, 2 rounds that I missed, by the way. I think I missed the end of round 7 and I missed round 8, so I was in a pretty rough spot. I'm hoping I didn't miss a shop. I don't think I missed a shop, but yeah. Irrespective of that, the win streak is over, but we have got level 2 Swordsman, and we have got a level 2 God of War, and we've also picked up the Wind Ranger as well, who's going to be a good mid-game hunter until we get the Siren to replace him. Now, if I did not have any Magicka Crystals, so the mana generation items, if I didn't have any of those, I would probably stick to keeping Wind Ranger in my composition. I think that Siren without any mana generation is bad, because she takes too long to get her ultimate off, and I'd much rather have the flat damage of Wind Ranger. And Wind Ranger also has the highest base attack speed in the game, or in the Hunters anyway, which means that he's got a very high DPS even outside of channeling his ultimate. So you might be wondering about my positioning now that I've hit level 6. It's basically my level 2 tanky boys, which is my Swordman, my Red Axe Chief, and my God of War on the front line. And I've actually put the Werewolf and the Tusk Champion behind them. Now, the reason I've done that is because they're level 1. I don't want them to take unnecessary damage right at the start, because I'd really like Werewolf to transform, because if I can get Werewolf to transform, that actually makes him really powerful. So you see he's not actually being touched right now because he's just behind my front line, which means he gets his ability to transform, and not only will that increase my chances of winning, but it will also inflict more damage on people that are losing to me. I'm going to go to level 7 here. Now, you might wonder, this is actually a kind of an interesting thing to talk about, by the way. You might wonder why I went to level 7 here when I wasn't on a particularly good win streak. Now, the reason I've gone to level 7 in this scenario is because I know my composition is strong. Like, I know that my composition is very, very, very strong. So I'm happy to go to level 7 and build a win streak, because I know that I'm going to continue to win from this position, because I just, I've got 3 hunters, so 3 hunters is always good up until round 15 or so. And in a second, I'm getting a call. I'll be back with you in just a brief moment. Alright, I'm back. Sorry, it was my father-in-law. Story time for you. I recently put my BMW key through the wash, and if any of you drive newer BMWs, you'll know that they have an electronic key fob, which means that you can't actually activate your car manually. You have to do it via electronic key. So unfortunately, I put it through the wash and it didn't work, and the only way to get a replacement is to go to BMW directly. And do you know how much that costs? That costs about £300 to get a new key, so unfortunately I had to pay that. But in the process of me trying to get my car to work otherwise, I unfortunately drained the battery somehow. So I have to get some jumper cables from my father-in-law to be able to start my car again. Anyway, story time over. Let's get back to the game. So as you can see here, I'm going through the wolf round. I just positioned accordingly for the wolf round. It's a pretty easy positioning set to go for. What you'll notice is I do have 3/4 of a Orb of Refresh, so this means I'm definitely going to be replacing my Wind Ranger with Siren. Absolutely no way in hell that I'm going to not do that. But again, like I said, I'm pretty happy, and I'm happy that I made the decision to go to level 7 early, because as you can see, we've built a win streak, we've built our economy back up, and we are now at 50 gold by round 16, essentially. And actually on round 16 you would usually, or round 16 or 17, you would usually be going to level 7, and I'm already there, so I'm actually ahead of the curve, and now I'm going to have gold to work with. I sold off my Tusk Champion and then won the round to get the 2 gold necessary to stay at 50 gold for round 16, and now we're in the golden territory. I also find my Siren, and I also find the Aegis' bonus, which is obviously incredibly important. And actually that's enough for me to sell off my Red Axe, who's going to become a little bit irrelevant from this point forward. But I'll take the Aegis bonus over a 2-star Red Axe any day of the week, and it should mean that I continue to keep winning in this scenario. And you can see that with the mana generation on my, well, actually I say that, I just got smashed. Rip my hopes and dreams. Yeah, this is something else that is kind of funny. And not something that I would ever usually recommend doing, by the way. If you see the current lobby that I'm in, you'll notice that there are 4 other Hunter players in this lobby. So if you see me aggressively roll over the next few rounds, the reason I'm doing that is because I am trying to find the Aegis Ranger and the Dwarf Snipers before the other Hunter players. When you are contesting other people for builds, and when you have a good economy and you're high up the chain like I am, it is okay to roll a bit more aggressively to find the units that you need. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm rolling a bit more aggressively because there are 4 other Hunter players in this lobby all looking for Aegis Rangers, Dwarf Snipers, Soul Reapers. So I need to find those units. Luckily, I'm the only Hunter player choosing to go for God of War as a frontline. I do think God of War is the best frontline. But you can see what a difference a 2-star Dwarf Sniper makes compared to a 1-star Dwarf Sniper, which is why I need to find my Dwarf Snipers pretty quickly. The reason being is that Dwarf Sniper level 1 is just nowhere near as good as Dwarf Sniper level 2, and you can see how powerful Dwarf Sniper level 2 is, especially if you get some damage items on him. And that's another thing that I've had an issue with this game. Not really that many damage items for my Dwarf Sniper, which is meaning that I'm falling a little bit behind in terms of damage output. But overall, we're actually in an okay position. So I'm going to sell off my Swordman eventually. I'll be trying to replace him with a Pirate Captain, and at level 8 I'll be having Pirate Captain and Venomancer on this field for a complete level 8 build. This would be sort of the standout build. This would probably be similar to what you would call the #1 Asian Hunter build. just without the marine bonus. I do want to add the marine bonus, so it's something that I'm keeping in the back of my mind. But as you can see, I'm just kind of checking out the competition in terms of hunter builds right now. I do desperately need to find the units that, like, there you go. I need to find my dwarf sniper really badly, and I do find him. I did roll pretty aggressively down to 30 gold here, but I think it was worth it because it's made my composition infinitely stronger now. And now I'm just going to be trying to contest for the level 3 Agursis Ranger. I also do want level 3 dwarf sniper, but it's very unlikely that I'm going to get that whilst there are still 4 hunter players in this lobby. And something that you'll also notice is that a lot of the hunter players are actually feathered hunter players, and to be honest, feathered hunter players are going to be a little bit susceptible to my composition because generally hunters counter feathered, or in fact not even generally, hunters just counter feathered. So decision making right now, I've actually got pretty much the composition that I need to keep myself going. The only thing that I'm looking for is another Venomancer, and I'm also looking for a Pirate Captain. So I actually don't need to roll aggressively right now because I'm actually giving myself limited options in terms of what I can find that will actually benefit my composition. So what I'm going to be looking to do now is primarily build back up to 50 gold, and I'm actually going to be looking to go to level 9 because going to level 9 will allow me to add the marine bonus. It will also, because I've got 2 mages in this lobby, by the way, you know, need to be aware of that. 2 mages in this lobby, I will need to be thinking about the marine bonus in some way, shape or form. What I could have done is taken out my swordman at this point and added the abyssal guard. That probably would have been the more sensible decision at this point, but unfortunately it's just not what I did, not the decision that I made on the fly. It should have been the decision that I made on the fly, realistically. So I do want to iterate that finding the putting in an abyssal guard over a swordman 2 at this point is probably more beneficial given how many strong mage players there are in this lobby. The other thing that I do need right now is a God of War 3. God of War 2 is so, like, strictly inferior to a God of War 2 in terms. Sorry, God of War 2 is strictly inferior to God of War 3 in terms of what what kind of tanking capabilities it has. So I do desperately need a God of War 3, and so the prime time to roll for 1-cost units is before you hit level 9. So this is the best time in the game to roll for late game 1-cost units, because once you get to level 9, your overall chance to find 1-costs decreases massively. So you need to try and find your 1-costs at level 7 or level 8, and I do indeed find the Pirate Captain, which is great. Now I've got more chance to roll for the God of Wars that I found. I found my 3-star Agursis Ranger, but you know, like, as much as I can roll now and get away with it with my HP, the better it's going to be for me in the long term. If I want to find 4-cost units, it's better to go to level 9 because 4-cost chances go up at level 9. So that's the kind of differences that you're looking at here. If you're looking to go for 1-cost units, try 1-cost units, you want to try and get that at level 8. 2-costs and 3-costs. 2-costs stay the same across level 8 and level 9, but 3-costs go down ever so slightly at level 9 because they make up for the increased chances of finding the legendaries and also the mythics, the 4-costs. So obviously I need to get a Pirate Captain 2 here. I also need to get God of War 3, like I said. Those are the main things that I'm looking for, and I will pick up dwarf snipers as we go. I'm not going to rush for dwarf snipers. I will just pick them up as we go. I'm not going to spam roll for them. I'm just going to, again, like I said, there's a lot of people in this lobby right now playing hunters, so it's very unlikely that I'm going to be able to find dwarf snipers at the rate that I want to, basically. So I'm essentially here considering Doom versus Werewolf. Now, I think realistically, Doom is better. I do actually think realistically that Doom is a much better unit to have. The one thing that Werewolf offers is he gives you a potential beast bonus. He also gives you a lot of random units. He gives you the 2 wolves that can actually tank for you quite effectively in the later stages of the game if he can get his ultimate off, which is why I've placed him behind God of War, by the way, for the same reason I did in the early game. I've placed him behind because I don't want him to die before he can get his ability off. So again, I'm pretty close to being level 9 here. I think the best thing for me at this stage is looking to go for the best thing for me at this stage is just looking to head to level 9, but also I am trying to think about rolling for the God of Wars, and the Tsunami Stalker came through as well, which is massive because Tsunami Stalker is also a unit that I'm going to try and keep behind my front lines as much as possible, or at least keep him out of the direct line of fire because he's very squishy at level 1 specifically. But he adds a massive amount to my composition. He adds a lot of CC. He also adds a a lot of the marine bonus, which is absolutely necessary for me. And a couple of people died, which is actually really awesome because it's now allowed me to get a lot of really good, essentially a lot of really good items onto my field. So I've actually got some damage on my dwarf sniper now. You saw how hard that was for me to find a one cost, by the way. I ended up having to use the egg. I did find some God of Wars, but not a huge amount of them. But I ended up having to use the egg to get God of War here, which is fine. Perfectly okay with that. I was happy rolling down as well because God of War 3 was like a necessary upgrade. Like, I really did not see myself beating this this Glacier Knight player if I didn't have a God of War 3 in this scenario. And now the only other thing that I'm looking for is a Dwarf Sniper 3, because there isn't really much. I mean, Tsunami Stalker 2 would be good too, Pirate Captain 2 of course, sorry, but Dwarf Sniper 3 would be a major upgrade, especially versus the Mage player. And you might wonder why I'm positioning the way I am. The reason I'm positioning like this is to try and split my comp up versus this Mage player, and you see it is actually helping significantly. And also the positioning, I tried to keep in mind how it would play versus the Glacier Knight player, ended up playing okay, which is great. But yeah, I've just split my stuff up. I've tried to keep some of my units away from each other. I've tried to keep the important units out of sort of one single storm shower and ultimate. And as you can see here, this guy is going to level 10. He's also looking to get a God of War 3 on the board as well, which God of War 3 probably would make my job versus him significantly harder. So I actually find a lot of really, really good items here. I find a lot of armor shred. I find a frantic mask, which is good on Dwarf Sniper, by the way. A lot of people say it's not good on Dwarf Sniper, but it absolutely is. I double up on these random things that don't stack, by the way. You should never do that. And I actually put some magic resist on my Dwarf Sniper. The reason I do that is because the reason I put magic resist on my Dwarf Sniper is because actually, you know, if he was to avoid getting killed by a single Tortolo Elder Wave in the later game, especially when he's 3-star, I'd be really happy with that. So I've actually slowed the game down from Black Dragon King onwards because I want to talk about positioning stuff. So there's some sort of specific positioning stuff that I did here that has really like helped me out massively. So I want to talk about that specific positioning stuff. I'm also going to do the rolling. I'm essentially looking for a Pirate Captain 2 here. There is also a part of me that is thinking about bringing on an Abyssal Crawler and going with the Abyssal Guard for Marine bonus, trying to figure out a way to fit that into my composition as well. As you can see, I'm not really having too much luck. I'm not finding a crazy amount of Dwarf Snipers or a crazy amount of Pirate Captains, but we are very close to getting these things to 2-star. And as you can see, I literally got it just as we started here. Now, what I've done here is I've put my Dwarf Sniper on the opposite side of the board because I don't want him to get caught in the massive AoE that this Dragon Mage player is throwing at me. And he's one of my major sources of damage right now. And actually, what's really funny is that my God of War did more damage because everybody was clumped up. But Dwarf Sniper, being in the position that he's in, keeps himself safe for such a long time that he actually gives me a winning edge versus this player. Getting him to 3-star would be absolutely insane, which is why I'm considering it. I'm trying to think about getting him to 3-star here, and you can see that I have to kind of sell off my Abyssal Guards, but I'm one Dwarf Sniper away from a 3-star Dwarf Sniper. Now, a 3-star Dwarf Sniper with the items that I've got would be absolutely ridiculous. And once again, I'm just trying to split my composition out. I want my Siren to be slightly separate from my Pirate Captain. I want my Dwarf Sniper to be on the opposite end of the fight to my Agursis Ranger so that my DPS is all nicely split up. Also, the Marine bonus from the Tsunami Stalker is massive for this composition because I'm not getting wiped out in a single Tortola Ultimate wave. I'm allowing my Siren to at least get one Siren Ultimate off. Now, I think it's with his God of Thunder 2, it's really going to come down to God of Thunder RNG, whether I can actually make it out of this game alive. The thing about God of Thunder is he'll sometimes wipe out your entire team and he'll sometimes just hit one person, which is what it is. So we find Dwarf Sniper 3. This is a massive upgrade, not only because we've got Frantic Mask on him, so he's going to have lifesteal as well as attack speed as well as huge damage, but also because his health has significantly increased at level 3, which means he's unlikely to get instantly wiped out by a Tortola Elder Ultimate or a Thunder Spirit Wave or what have you. But again, keeping my composition split like this. I want my God of War in the middle. I want him to take a lot of the damage initially. I want my Tsunami Stalker to walk around the side, get the Tsunami Stalker ultimate off before he dies, and then I want to combo that into the Siren ultimate. I want to try and get 2 Siren ultimates off, even if it's difficult because she's squishy at level 2, but I think it is possible. And you can see that with the positioning that I've got, splitting my DPS across each side, keeping some of the more important units out of the range of a single Storm Shaman ultimate, what I'm doing is actually working quite well. Again, we've got 3 big 3 stars, the God of War, the Aegis Ranger, and the Dwarf Sniper, and this guy is still struggling to find a God of War 3. But realistically, I think that we've positioned really well versus the mage player. I'm even splitting things up even a bit more here. I'm trying to make it so that not everything gets blown up in one single go, because he's obviously got a lot of linear DPS as well. So when I talk about linear DPS, I'm talking mostly about Tortola Elder. And actually, what's really important for me is that my Siren ultimate is going off before the Storm Shaman ultimate goes off, which is the most important part of the way I'm winning this game right now. And actually, right at the end here, because of our positioning and because of the way that we played, we end up getting the win, which is awesome. This was, I mean, hunters can literally be anything if you play them right, and I genuinely think hunters are one of the strongest comps right now. I think Glacier Knights and hunters are like my go-tos, and then dragon mages as well. But you can just see there that a good hunter composition with the marine bonus can actually beat dragon mages. You do need a lot of mana generation on your Siren, but it can work. And especially if you get to late game when people give you their items, it's actually a very viable strategy.